Yo, check. Testing if it's live. We're going to go through St. Thomas Nightly News here. Just go over some of the headlines that have been recently around the neighborhood and see what we can go by, you know? There's been a few weird stories. One guy got caught trying to film up some lady's dress in Walmart or something. And another guy at the driver's test place crashed the car right through the driver's test window, which is actually pretty crazy. But give me 1 second and I'll just kind of go through what's been happening in and around here. And I'm going to plan to do a nightly news and just go over the headlines and stuff because some people don't want to watch. The St. Thomas police, they're searching for a stolen vehicle. It's like a Hyundai 2019 Kona, white, stolen between the 5th and the 6th in the south end of the city. If you know anything about it, you know what to do. So this is the one I was talking about. The Sarnia police lay charges after a car collides with a building, and the headline doesn't do it justice. A red Bronco busts through the front doors and windows of the drive test Government of Ontario exam. Go check that out on CTV News. You can see that's pretty funny. I wonder if he was like going for a driver's test and failed it, you know. There was the air show. It marks the 10th year straight with sold out weekends and sky high thrills, the snowbirds and all those jets and stuff. It's always a good time for the family, you know. Here's another story I was talking about earlier. A voyeurism charge laid in St. Thomas after a months-long investigation. St. Thomas police were reported 2 suspicious encounters inside a local business. I remember this article on the police blog or whatever, and they had his picture on there. If you're interested, go look. It was a 31-year-old man from Lincoln, Ontario. So he's coming here to St. Thomas. I've never heard of Lincoln, but I probably won't be ever going there. The man allegedly attempted to use his cell phone to film up her dress. That's just solid citizenry there. But if you want to see his picture, you can go to the St. Thomas police website. His picture is there. 31-year-old from whatever town I just said. Not from here. $60 million is flowing into the Midwestern Ontario infrastructure for housing, where I, cheers to that. But at the same time, how much does $60 million actually get you for, really, when it comes down to, what is it, like 6 houses? They built 6 new houses and give it to their families. There's a shock video out there that you should probably go look up. It's a video of landlord films after the tenants leave, and it was a housing program for homeless Londoners, and these tenants were referred by City Hall, and apparently they just trashed the place. So, that's the thing. People try to reach out and help, and usually backfires. It's a saying, no good deed goes unpunished. There's new cases of Legionnaire's disease still popping up. That was a few weeks ago. That was a meat factory near Clark Road, meat processing factory in Clark Road in London, and then they had like a pocket in the city because this disease apparently spreads through the air. It doesn't spread, like, it's not the meat itself, it's the air, like a mold, and the whole area around that there was confirmed cases of Legionnaire's disease. It was in the hospital, and the ventilations is definitely a interesting little thing that happened. 19,000 in drugs were seized in during a traffic stop of a motorcycle on Eaton Park and Topping Lane in London. A search of the backpack took place, and he had $21,000 in cash, 35 grams of F, 53 grams of C, and 46 grams of suspected oxycodone, and whatever that is. The estimated street value is $19,000, plus he had the 21 grand on him. 45-year-old man charged with operated while prohibited, 4 counts of possession of Schedule 1 for trafficking, 3 counts of failure to comply with a release order, cause identity of a plate, and use plate not authorized for a vehicle. That big one there, though, that was already out on a release order. Of course he was. It just seems to be the way it goes. I'm not here for bail reform or nothing, but something weird. A London teacher was charged with sexual assault. London teacher. They were notified at Bonaventure Meadows Public School had sexually assaulted a student between January and June. Oh my. So it's like extended. According to the police, the teacher started emailing a school-aged girl in January, and in April, the man brought her to his home where he sexually assaulted her. Hot damn! And they're going to mute my mic because I said this and didn't say the YouTube code language or whatever, but whatever. My apologies. Reading the news how it is blanked me out. Jamie Kane, 43, of London, has been charged with SI with a person under 16 and luring by the means of telecommunications. There might be other similar incidents, so they're asking the public if there's other people of this creep. Oh crap! We've got a picture. We got a quick. There's your public school teacher. Unbelievable. Child was hit by a car in the St. Thomas school zone. The kid's been released. It was 8:40 a.m. on a report of a crash on the south end of the city. 11-year-old was taken to hospital for assessment and cleared. So that's good. No injuries or nothing. The driver was charged with careless driving. Doesn't give an age or anything about that, but people that hang out in the court building, they know all of these people are. Unbelievable stuff though. It's not like profit crime or nothing. A lot of it, it's just odd creeps. Human remains were discovered in southwest Oxford. OPP responded to a report of a suspected human remains on Beachville Road. They were later confirmed. Crime units investigating, a forensic path. Oh, so it was like rotted away. They don't know who it is still. We got 5 people charged after another London shooting. 5 individuals have been charged. 3 a.m. on Sunday, police received multiple reports of gunshots in the area of John Street and Richmond. So you're talking right downtown there. Officers arrived, found evidence of the firearms being discharged. Members of the police, the major crime, they executed a search warrant on a car on Monday. A loaded Glock 26 Gen 5 9mm, approximately 100 G's of suspected C, a bottle containing 40 suspected oxycodone. Oh, okay, I see they're like a pharmaceutical. 2 digital scales. We got looks to be a white girl that's all beat right up looking. They gave the names as well. I'll give you a little quick. That girl did not look in the bestest of shape though. Liban Yusuf of 22 of London, charged with failed to comply a release order, possession of a firearm, possession loaded, unloaded, and he's also been charged with fail to comply, possession of a restricted or prohibited firearm, possession unloaded, occupy motor vehicle with firearm, just a list of firearm. They get you here in Canada with a firearm, they get you with like 40 charges, just like you didn't have your freaking put it in your belt properly, like everything. He remains in custody. He'll be in court on the 5th of September. Also, no, that's a few days old then. This from I said Monday, right? Mading Atat, 23 of London. He's got a list of the charge, and he's remanded into custody. We got Abraham Johnson, 21 of London. He's got only 3 or 4 charges, but he got remanded in custody as well. Noah Gurgis, 21 of London, has been charged with the following: dangerous operating a motor vehicle, failed to stop for the police, possession restricting a firearm, occupy a motor vehicle with a firearm, possession of unloaded and loaded regulated firearm. He remains remanded in custody as well. And then we got the girl, Rebecca Dean, 25 of London. So she's actually like older than all these guys too, you know. They all remain in custody. And it looks like they're doing some more search warrants on these people, so might be some updates on that. Shooting on Richmond in London, you know. They're not letting that get away with it. They will not let you get away with that. Just a fact. We got the unofficial gravel capital of Ontario has been granted to our local area. Cadillac got stolen on Ipperwash Beach. That's sad. That's a nice old body caddy. There was a sword attack in London. Like, what is going on? London man facing charges. London police were called to a weapons complaint involving a sword. Police said the victim was moving out of a home in Beaver Brook Avenue and Oak Crossing Road. The suspect, who police said the other renter in the house, approached the victim and an argument took place. The suspect allegedly pulled out a sword, trying to hit the victim with it. Who says hit the victim? Like, you're going to hit a guy with a sword? Is that what happens? The victim ran out of the home and said that they followed up. Allegedly went into the victim's vehicle, took their keys from the ignition, and ran back in, locking the victim out. 27-year-old man is facing assault with a weapon, possession of a weapon, and theft under $5,000. They nagged him for stealing the keys with a theft. Didn't say anything about keeping him in custody. So, I mean, like, I'm not one for to talk about like racism and this and that, but like, it is funny that the only ones I read about that like got locked up, but they did shoot on Richmond. But we got 2 or 3 new public schools opening up in the London area. This week there was also a bank robbery in St. Thomas. The Libro Bank on Talbot Street at 4 p.m. on Thursday. Multiple 911 calls from an employee and a customer. The suspects had already fled. 4 males, described as black or dark complexion, believed to enter all in their 20s, entered the business and bound the hands of the employees. Holy! According to the police, one of the suspects was observed brandishing what appeared to be a firearm. The suspect fled west in a silver Honda CR-V parked on the south of the business. The suspects were inside the premises for approximately 5 minutes, and no money or property was taken. So they tied these got and then just left and didn't get anything. That's a pretty crazy picture of them there, though. Mobbing up in they tied up. These guys tied up the employees in St. Thomas. What's going on with that? What? This is actually a good day to start the news here. Should be pulling up some of the videos. $43.7 million in coke found at and seized at the Blue Water Bridge, which is what, Sarnia? 43 million. What do they charge per gram all the way up or whatever? There was near Corunna. There was a mosquito trap that has the West Nile virus, which, of course, just a lot of courses going on around here. A London man was charged with a hate-motivated break-in and an assault. That's an odd one. Hate-motivated break-in. You breaking in because you're racist against someone, or I guess that can be any of the cysts. 13-year-old arrested for assault by the OPP. There was a serious collision in Chatsworth. Charges were laid there. Police arrest 6 people. Seek another after another shooting in downtown. Oh no, that's the one. They're seeking more people. That John in Richmond. 6 people. Yeah, so yeah, they only had that updated one. I only had 5. More 2 suspects charged after a gun and drugs were seized. This time, at 21 on Egerton and Grafton Streets. Yeah, a loaded gun, ammunition, and over 2,000 cash. 2 suspects face charges. 23-year-old. A list of charges, including 4 counts of possession of a firearm. See, what he had 4? I don't understand some of these, but like I said, they layer it. They layer it big time. 22 guns seized after investigation in downtown London. 24-year-old man seized. They got 22 guns seized after an investigation in downtown earlier this month. On Rideout Street North in Fullerton, was in possession of firearms stored in a careless manner. With the assistance of the LPS Guns and Gangs section, they did a search warrant. 22 rifles and 5 boxes of ammo. 24-year-old man, 5 counts of careless. So he's got 5 counts of careless. That's what I was talking about a little earlier. One guy gets 1 gun, the whole car gets charged with all the guns, and they get like 15 charges each. And then this guy has 22 rifles and gets 5 charges. I don't know. I'm not complaining at all. They must have their, like, you know, it's like that's their reasoning to keep him behind bars. Like, you know, I guess circumstances matter, and it's not just he could have been just a gun trader or something that, or I don't know. I'm minimalizing it. I'm saying his circumstances could have been less than what these guys shooting up on Richmond would be. Probably a little bit more worse, right? We'll go over some actual local St. Thomas here. Stick right to the news here of the local for the last few days. They're talking about that Hyundai still. There was an assault on the 6th. The 39-year-old was arrested and charged with assault ×2 after a staff at a downtown organization reported being physically assaulted. He was held for bail and later released. Now, I'd like to see if this forms a pattern. I'm going to read every charge that was just from this day. Break and enter on the morning of the 6th. The police attended an address in the core of the city, receiving reports of possible B&E. The property owner reported to the police that she had attended the residence and located a female inside who left immediately. You come home and you find a freaking female in your house. It's under investigation. So, okay, they didn't let that one out on bail because they didn't catch him. Theft. During the afternoon of September 6th, St. Thomas police were contacted at downtown business to report a female had stolen $100 worth of merchandise. The female was described in her 40s. A Caucasian, blonde hair, glasses, wearing flower print, blah, blah. Theft remains under investigation. So they're just sneaking off of the... Oh, we got another one here. We got another theft. In the evening of the 6th, the police were contacted by a downtown business who reported a female had concealed and stolen $15 worth. Described as 5'7" with long brown hair. So at least it's a different girl. Caught on camera, and they're continuing to investigate. There was a warrant for a 54-year-old female who was wanted for theft under and breach of her probation. The female was arrested and released on an appearance notice. 2 for 2. Warrant arrest same day. 35-year-old male was arrested by officers of Elmer Police on a St. Thomas bench warrant. The male was transported and held for bail court. Oh, they held him for bail court. I guaranteed he got bail, but I ain't complaining. I'm just saying it's a pattern. Theft. In the evening of September 6th, they were contacted by another downtown business regarding theft of $112 worth of groceries. The female, once again, suspected concealed the items in her bag, captured and currently under investigation. Holly, man. Breach of probation. Same day, officers attended a Southside residence regarding a male breaching his probation. As a result, the 21 was arrested and charged with fail to comply with probation times 7. The male was brought to the station and held for bail court. Alright, so we're 2 and 2, but held for bail don't mean didn't make bail. On September 6th, the police were contacted by a family of Caitlin DeLoe, 22 years, who wished to report her as missing. I won't go any farther into that. A 22-year-old woman missing. Doesn't see anything suspicious or anything, but maybe there'll be follow-ups on that. A 47-year-old resident was arrested Friday morning at a local retail store. The same male had been identified by staff members as being responsible for 2 previous thefts on separate days. The man was arrested and charged with 2 counts of theft under $5,000 and later released from custody with a court date and condition. Impaired. Blah, blah, blah. 20-year-old was taken into custody, conveyance for impaired, blah, blah, released with a court date. Intimate partner violence. 21-year-old London man has been charged involving a physical altercation on Friday. The man faces multiple charges, coming down and getting them St. Thomas girls and ended up in the clink. 37-year-old man is charged with threats after the police responded to an altercation on Friday. Following a short investigation, grounds were provided that the victim in this matter was, and the male was arrested. Blah, blah, blah. Released on a court date with conditions. And a shoplifter was identified. 20-year-old man has been identified after police received a complaint from a local retailer about a recent theft. The male was observed on video committing it. As such attempts were made to locate the male, however, he remains at large. A warrant is being sought for this. Oh, here we go with the voyeurism stuff. Let's see if we got... Oh, here we got his pictures. This is the voyeurism I had mentioned earlier, but here's from the St. Thomas police. And there was an incident in July. A female resident of St. Thomas. 2 encounters suspicious with this guy in the business. Charlie Toms of Lincoln, Ontario. And we got a little bit of, I don't know, these aren't the best pictures of him, but you can see him. The bearded man sticking his camera up people's shirts and skirts or whatever, allegedly. Strutting around Walmart with his camera and his bulge. What a weirdo. What a weirdo. Like, sometimes people are just a little too much. And should probably just stay in whatever town I'd mentioned. Stay the hell out of St. Thomas. We're coming here to film our people up their skirts. Tommy, whatever your frickin' name is. I hope they kept you in custody. I'll tell you that. And they'll make sure that you might not reoffend. Actually, what am I talking about? That yuppie's already in the protective. A 48-year-old St. Thomas resident has been arrested out in the Southside business. 10 p.m. he was called by local staff. An individual was bleeding. Upon arrival, officers learned an argument between the accused and their partner turned physical. 48 was charged with assault and assault causing bodily harm. Transported to the police, processed, and held for morning court. Oh, he was trying to spend the night in. Probably released to the same home. Breach of recog. 2 St. Thomas residents have been charged after a disturbance on Talbot Street Through investigations, they learned the two weren't even allowed to be together with conditions not to communicate with each other. A 40-year-old St. Thomas and a 46-year-old St. Thomas resident. Both residents not gendered. $70 bottle of rum was reported stolen from a retail store on Talbot Street. Hope they got it on camera, man. They're coming for y'all. A 37-year-old St. Thomas resident has been charged with theft under $5,000 at 1063 Talbot. He is identified by store staff as the person responsible stealing. He was transported to police headquarters, processed, and released on undertaking of the future court. Alright, we're going to finish up with $229 worth of merchandise has been reported stolen from a retail store on Talbot Street. A photo of the suspect is below. Dun, dun, dun. You stole $5 for putting your face on the internet. Lucky my camera's blurry and whack. I ain't trying to expose you. I'm just trying to expose the news. And really, it just seems like theft. I hate to run a business around here without the help of my own security or something, or you're gonna have to get a little something extra, some sort of like device, pepper sprays him as he's leaving your building, right? Seems to be a real big problem all up my whole strip here. And then you go in kind of, looking like you got some tattoos, you might be a little rough or whatever, but it doesn't mean you're a riffraff. And they're checking you the bulges in your pocket. And they're treating you like the rest of these criminals. And then you go uptown and the grannies ain't shopping no more. Mugford's closing down. The old jewelry store closing down. I went and seen Chef Bonnie's. This is an original pizza joint from St. Thomas from like the 30s or something. Don't quote me on the 30s, but 1900s, old. And it was like Don Cherry been there, Ron McLean, and all these different hockey players and stuff. It was just a great place. Italian pizza. I walked by there the other day, and they kept the Chef Bonnie's name, and they switched its mimosas or whatever, and curry. They still sell them the Chef Bonnie pizza, but they switched the whole menu, and I don't know, man. I guess they're at least trying to put up a business, right? That's the thing. That we're all just like, screw this and moving out and going to sell stuff online and stuff instead of dealing with these people coming in your store and stealing all your stuff. Like, how would you? I don't know. Profit margins are pretty thin. I think about the grocery carts I see around. Where everywhere you look, you see grocery carts, people pushing them. Like, I'd truly like to price out how much it would be to buy a grocery cart brand new from like those stores. They buy them probably in bulk, obviously, like 100 of them at a time. But someone would make a guess. What would you think it would be? It would be like what? It's not $100. You can't even get a Roku remote switched for $100 anymore. Everything's $100. You go to McDonald's, it's $100. I don't even know why I'm talking about $100. A grocery cart, metal, all with the decals and whatever they do, it's got to be $1,000. And maybe, these big companies, maybe it's $500, whatever, because they get a bunch. But $500 for every cart that they steal from there, and I'm going to take this channel outside. I'm going to show you around my city and around London, around St. Thomas, and show you that what the real estate guys aren't showing you. Or when the news comes, like, this was pretty funny. I went to go show my girl the alleyway over there that is, it's notorious alleyway, the back alleyway they call it, right? I think it's actually named that. But anyway, it sounds cheesy, but it's Kensington of St. Thomas. It's zombie world. It's people straight up zombieing out on all of the crap, the grocery carts and the tents and all that, right? But when CTV News showed up and they had the Joe Preston or whatever guy out front bragging about how good they're doing with the homeless. Conveniently, the day before, it was cleaned up. Sat there all summer. Conveniently, nice and cleaned up for the news to come. Well, they're not going to be ready for Saint to show up. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to expose the news. I'm going to expose some local stuff. We're going to do some nightly news stuff and go through these things. And I'm going to learn a little bit more about my new computer here. And put the stuff up on the screen for you and stuff. But I thought I'd keep it nice and simple this first one and just kind of rant. Go through the stuff. I'll, wasn't making the proper eye contact because obviously I'm reading and stuff. But I'd like to know some other people's local, their thoughts and stuff on some of these topics and the theft and the crime. But I know I just breezed off, but the $500 per cart that I'm seeing out there just piling up in the gutters, that goes right into our grocery prices. That goes right into our price for this mic. This goes right into the price for everything. They're not just stealing carts. They're stealing mics. They're stealing coffee. They're stealing everything because the price goes into it. And then they're in there with the carts that they stole, parked up the street, and then they're going in every day, just every store without consequence and stealing everything. When I was a kid, I ain't gonna lie, I was like 15, 16 years old, and I was coming up rough, and this is a rough little town, and I would steal. I was a kid, and I did time for it. I went to juvie, I went to Exeter Road, and they had, when you were 16 back then, they sent you to EMDC. Straight, no lie. The female range now used to be the young offender unit, the pink and the blue side. Anyone born in the 80s or before would know that. But they stopped basically when I turned adult, and in that area they switched it. They were sending kids to Blue Water and Tyack, and now it's what the Roy or something in Brampton. Not really keep up with the young offender stuff. This stuff though, this thief every day and no consequences, I think it's a big trap for these people. I really do. They're going to have a strong-fisted conservative government come in, and they're going to have a rap sheet. Like, so they think, and one of these times they're going to come in this store, and they're going to steal their little $5, and it'll be a new judge appointed. And they're going to say, we got some mandatory minimums. That's a new thing. And you've got a rap sheet and you haven't learned. So kind of like California got so bad. And they got the 3 strikes laws, right? And people were going to jail for 25 years stealing a slice of pizza. Like for their third offense. Like if they making a felony. I know that's like a exaggerated, but like pretty sure that was a real case. But even just like your third assault, your third whatever, they had a 3 strikes law, and people were getting life in jail for very minimal things, but they just didn't want to put up with the over and over stuff. I have a big time feeling that that's what's going on. Release with conditions. Breach with your conditions. Release with more conditions. They want you dummies to steal and ruin these businesses, so the big businesses will all take over. And all the little shops have to shut down because of insurance prices and everything, the rent going up. Meanwhile, the property value going down because you got people straight up taking defecation outside. And here in Canada, I come up and step to a guy and he's charging me. We need people to stand up for our neighborhoods. We need people to stand up for block by block. And that's not just against this. These things are all connected with the drugs, and when it really gets down to it, it's conspiratorial. It's New World Order, and anyone who knows. The United Nations, Agenda 21, Agenda 2030, all falls in play. But I'm not going to get off into a whole tangent on that. Fact is, local matters. And they infiltrate from outside, and they're putting this F stuff in these people's pipes. It ain't growing here or being labbed here or whatever they call it. They're ruining a lot of people's lives. But I'm getting way off on this. My point is, every time I see released and more freaking, I'm thinking, I did 6 months for wrapping up town when I was drunk when I was young. Straight up. Sent me 6 months. Because it was a breach and this and that. Nowadays, they're just letting the charges pile. And I promise you, that is what these dirty politicians are up to. They're letting it get so bad so they can bust them up and people will say bye-bye and not even blink. Kind of like, how did they round up the Jays in Germany back in the day, huh? How did we all just let them go? Because it's a slow process. It's a mind warp. It's a brainwash. Until you're to the point and you and your normal family are saying, F you, and as they get rounded up on the buses and taking places. Because they pissed you off so much. Welcome to 2025 and the modern Hungarian dialect. Where the rich are just got us all distracted. But I'm not going to be distracted. And I'm going to give you just some local news. And we're going to keep in touch with this. And I hope you come check out my channel. Because I'm going to bring these cameras around. And we're going to take you through the gutters and the slums. And we'll show you some of the stuff that people just are kind of afraid to show. And I don't know. I hope to see you. This is Saint. See you on the next one.